Minister Lewis, you have the floor.
Good morning to my honorable council member. Good morning to the press, and good morning to the people of St. Martin. I would like to start on the discussion of high crime. The nation on the critical issue of rising crime, and particularly appears related to a gang war taking place in other countries in the region. This issue has the attention of the law enforcement, and it continued to be monitored in case locally. I want to take a moment to speak directly to our young people. Engaging in these activities lead to only two things: death and imprisonment. Listening to the mother of the young man involved, I heard the voice of a woman in deep distress and despair and pain for her child. This is the impact of such a lifestyle. Immense suffering. This is a plea to our young people. Think before you act. Violence is never the answer. Our country is too small, and our communities are too interconnected, with friends and family closely linked, for us to endure the divisions that gang violence often creates. To those who consider engaging in such activities, I firmly say, not here. This is not who we are. To the community at large, and as Minister of Justice, and also Minister of Youth, I assure you that I am committed to restoring peace and safety in our community. We are intensifying our efforts to collaborate with neighboring countries to combat the spillover effect. Furthermore, we are looking into a comprehensive plan to ensure that this does not happen. But we cannot do this alone. It is imperative that we as a society come together to support these efforts: community violence, community vigilance, reporting suspicious activities, and fostering a culture of lawlessness are critical steps every citizen can take. It is also mentioned out there that the Minister of Justice allowed the entertainer to come in. And I would like to make mention that this Minister of Justice nor the acting Minister of Justice have permitted anyone to enter this country. We have not given any permit of any kind to the individual. It was solely based on the fact that the promoters of wherever this thing happened allowed this person to come in, probably under a tourist watch, and we, as government was never informed that this individual was on the island. That is the reason why we have an investigation. So this minister, again, I will reiterate, this Minister of Justice, nor my acting Minister of Justice, signed anything for a promoter or for the entertainer to come to this island. And secondly, there was also no economic license issued by the Minister of TIAT for such a performance. So, as I also go forward, I would also like to mention, with regards to the political guidelines that was drafted and the decision based on the COM, is still being vetted by YEZET, and where it came back with their elucidations of adjustments. The adjustments was made yesterday and is sent back to them for the final vetting and will be publicized also in short. I would also like to mention that Batch 7, with regarding to the National Decrees of Justice Workers, will be sent out to the Governor's office today. I would also like to make mention that my name was also mentioned in that batch, in which I have also informed my colleagues and also through FBB Finance that it would be removed and will be handled separately, as I am the minister and my documentation for all the years that I was been pended is of course based on a court verdict and should be rectified as such. Batch 8, 9, and 10 are being fine-tuned. They're all finalized, and they're being properly prepared to also be sent to the governor. So 8, 9, and 10 includes basically 75 individuals that will be getting their lunch bracelet. Human errors are made, such as name mistakes, etc. So they have to be going back and forth in order for it to be properly done before the signature of the governor on the lunch bracelet, and also for my signature or the acting ministers of justice signature. I would also like to make mention, I held it back for a long time because in this political world, everything seems to be a bashing from one minister or former minister. But because this minister has clear understanding of the Dutch language and understands what a LBHAM means, and by reading it and also sitting down with the staff who was responsible along with the former Minister of Justice, with regarding to which regulates the legal positions of justice workers, example for the police, immigration, and national detectives, are now faced with legal issues. And is also being vetted by judicial affairs, because in order for phase 2 to be executed, the proper law, whatever was given to the governor, as I understood, was not what they received back with signature, which does not allow, the decree does not allow for the justice workers currently to be retroactively paid from 10-10-10. This is also a major setback for the Ministry of Justice. I was trying to get this thing done beforehand, as I didn't need to put my colleagues in despair as, wow, we have a setback again. But since there's a lot of things being said about the Minister of Justice, I would like to make mention that these human errors or deliberate mistakes were done by the previous government. And therefore, this minister now is faced to have it rectified in order for the governor to sign again, and in order for my colleagues to be able to get their salaries adjusted from 10-10-10 forward. Hence the reason every national decree that we have right now is also based on the 1st of January, 2023. On the side of education, I must say the 1% vacation pay for subsidized schools were signed by my person. So just like all the other public schools who receive their 1% vacation pay, all subsidized schools, in short, will be getting their 1% vacation payout. From the Department of Youth, I can say 17 BOP certifications. The Department of Education is in recognition, validation of NEPA's S level program 3, L4, sports, physical activities and recreation, the SPAR, establishment of school vacation schedules for 2025 and 2028, and amended 2024-2025 school vacation schedule. Assignment of the work at the Raoul Illich, also sports complex, and in the Islands Hoops Basketball 3x3 tournament were also signed off by my person. I must say we had more than 100 summer school students, which I also signed off their contracts, so they can also be compensated for the great job well done during this summer vacation. With that, I conclude and give the floor over to the press.
Thank you, Honorable Minister Lyndon Lewis. I now open the floor to members of the media. Ms. Bibi Hadshaw of SMN News, you have the floor.
Thank you, Charity. Good morning, Minister. Thank you. I have some clarifications. Are you saying all the LBAs that were issued prior to you taking office now have to be corrected because of deliberate mistakes? Is that what you said?
I would not say if it's deliberately done. I can insinuate it is deliberately done. Hence the reason, with the type of information that the former minister is going out with, it really is, it's sad that you're trying to basically gain political traction on this minister. It doesn't work because I do not react. And second of all, we deal with facts and circumstances. In saying so, I will also elaborate further on the decision that was taken by the acting Minister of Justice on my part. Let's go back into history where everything was drafted by the former Minister of Justice. Even the Council of Ministers also agreed to rectify my payment based on a court verdict. Even though LB was sent forward to the governor and also returned, the former Minister of Justice herself also got her colleagues drafted the MBA. This was not done by this administration. The continuity has to continue. Because of personal issues and not issues of the country, my stuff was shoved in a drawer. There are also many other MBAs because the governor at the time was not signing LBAs that were also signed by the former Minister of Justice. And I have all those evidence as such, and therefore it can be proven that my stuff was shoved aside because I'm part of the political arena, and therefore you have an issue that I have taken many situations to court on the behalf of justice workers to rectify their salaries, and the former minister took it personal, so therefore I couldn't get my stuff fixed, but everyone that I worked for and got their stuff won in court, theirs were fixed.
I'm sorry, Bibi.
Okay.
Thank you, Minister. We'll have to pass over the mic to Ms. Judy Fitzpatrick due to time.
That was just a clarity. I need to have. Really
I'm sorry, Bibi. You'll have to forward those questions in writing to the Minister's Cabinet due to time. Yeah? Judy Fitzpatrick, please.
Thank you so much. Minister, I guess my most important question, since this is in the area that I live, can you give us an update on the status of the Dr. Martin Luther King Junior Primary School? Is it going to be open in time for the new school year? And I do also have a clarification, Minister. Okay. You indicated that the entertainer possibly came in as a tourist, and as such an investigation is being done. And my question would be, if it does turn out that he came in as a tourist and no economic license, I believe that's what you mentioned, were given so the taxes could be paid, what repercussions would there be for the promoter who allowed this person? Finally, a call was made on you by the leader of your party to give all children born in St. Martin to immigrant parents permanent residence. And my question, Minister,
Bibi, you're going to have to wrap. Sorry, Judy. Sorry, allow the minister to answer those two questions due to time once again. As I also stated to Bibi, we're running out of time. You'll have to forward those other questions in writing.
Mention quickly the first question that you mentioned. Just begin it, short.
The Dr. Martin Luther King.
The Dr. Martin Luther King project is being worked on as we speak, and hopefully we will have it open by in the next few weeks.
For the reopening of school?
Yes, for the reopening of school, we are pushing that agenda in order for us to have it open. And if there's any technical difficulties, if it's going to be open a little later, the public will be informed.
And the repercussions for?
And the repercussions, because at the end of the day, I do have a close relationship with the Council of Ministers, especially the one that's going to act on my behalf, where we spoke on the matter that they didn't get any permit from me. Second of all, we need to check, I think I do not recall the name of the bar where it happened, but we need to check the Moon Bar. We need to check their permit to see basically what it held in, basically what is allowed and what is not allowed. And basically when I spoke to the Chief of Police as well, where they had discussions with them, certain information was hidden from the police, hence the reason why we did not know. That is the answer that I got from the Chief of Police.
Okay. Giving all kids
moving along. Mr. Emily of Island 92, you have the floor.
Good morning. Regarding the political rallies, just to be clear in terms of authorities, the request for public gatherings is a request that's made to the Ministry of Justice.
Yes.
And it's a decision that's made by the Minister of Justice, and that it does not require the review or approval of the Council of Ministers. Yes. And so, just for clarity, the current status of any public gatherings and specifically the election gatherings, the public meetings? What's the
Basically, the
status now?
take is any political public gatherings which requires a permit based on the draft at this moment will not be allowed. But like I said also in Parliament, and I'm going to say it here again, as long as those documents are not published, as long as they are not ratified by my person, we cannot infringe on the rights of the individuals that would like to hold these gatherings until that is done.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, members of the media. This brings us to the end of our question and answer round. Also, thank you, Honorable Minister, for answering those questions. Once again, thank you for being a part of this morning's press briefing. For any further questions, please forward those to members of the media. Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, radio listeners, and online viewers, this brings us to the end of the live Council Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, July 31st, 2024. For rebroadcast, be sure to tune in to St. Martin Gov Radio, 107.9 FM, also stmartin.org, at also the of the Government of St. Martin YouTube channel. On behalf of our team here at the Department of Communication, I'm Charity Dunker. Thank you very much for being a part of this morning's broadcast.